Welcome everybody to MMA Buds. It is August 28th, and we are joined today by JBC, Jeremy Kennedy, 145. Give him a follow on Instagram. And he is the new star over there in the international promotion of Brave. And Jeremy, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. Man, we caught the global expansion press conference over there at Brave, and that just got the fire going under my belly of watching this new promotion. And man, I was so glad I tuned in. This thing was I guess let's start from the beginning, man. As you signed this fight, you were originally gilded as the main event here over in Morocco. And so, I guess, how did you take that, getting your first call in the new promotion, and then wanting to put you in a main event right away?
Yeah, it kind of worked out well. Then when they first brought it to me, they said I was going to be co-main event,
Mm.
and so I was cool with that, and it's good promotion, that just kind of shows what they think of me, to be able to bring me in for my first debut of the promotion, and I'm that high up on the card. And then when it turned out that I was in the main event, that was awesome. It's more exposure, especially on the posters and everything like that. And then they ended up being able to get Ottman, who's a local guy there. He's a huge star there on the card. So they switched it up like a week out. And
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't too upset about it because they just promoted me as the main event for the last 2 months. So I got all the promotion, and then right when they switched it up, it didn't bother me because I didn't really want that pressure. Especially, I didn't want Ottman fighting underneath me because those Moroccan fans went absolutely berserk after he fought. They had to shut the whole thing down. There was supposed to be a press conference that got canceled
Mm.
because they were just storming the place. They were just that excited about it. So I'm glad I was able to get in, get my job done, and get out before that last fight. And yeah, and it just brought more attention from the Moroccan fans to have Ottman on the card. So I was happy with how it all worked out.
Heck yeah, I'm not sure what happened behind the scenes, but it was
Oh,
definitely great to have him on the card there. And man, you touch on stuff behind the scenes that we don't get to see with the celebration. I mean, they obviously wanted him to win. They had the
yeah.
red and green confetti just ready to drop inside the cage. And that's the kind of stuff that you like to see, man. Bring the promotions back to a guy's hometown and, celebrate big time. I'm all into that.
Oh, the behind the scenes, man, it was something I've never seen before. It was in the back area. There was people running wild. Like the security couldn't even control them. It had got all the fighters had to sneak out of one little door to get to the fighter vans because the whole crowd and all the fans were all walking through the back halls, which you
Mm-hmm.
never see. I never saw in the UFC or anything like that. It was just they were that there's just so many of them that the security couldn't handle it. It was actually pretty funny. And Ottman actually got stuck inside of the cage for a good time after the fight, like probably 10-15 minutes, because everybody was trying to get into the cage, so they just shut the cage door, and left him in there. It was wild, man. It's something you would only see in Morocco.
Holy smokes. Well, man, let's get to your fight. First off, I want to say congratulations on the victory and congratulations on your sportsmanship, man, because you had to stop that fight yourself. It wasn't exactly the ref that did it, man. So after dropping him in your brutal ground and pound, you kind of just let the
Yeah,
ref know, hey, he's done, man. So I love stuff like
yeah, that kind of it was just the heat of the moment. I wanted to get out of there as quick as I can. We're not paid by the hour, so I was
that.
I was pounding on him, and I noticed he was just shelling up, and I didn't even know he was unconscious at that point because he had his hand kind of blocking over his face, but it was just because that's the position he was in when he lost consciousness. But he wasn't moving, and I hit him with probably 4 or 5, and I stopped for a second, and he still he didn't sit up into me, he didn't do anything, he just stayed there. That's when I looked up at the ref like, hey man, are we done here? And I wouldn't. It would have made the sport look bad as well. If that clip would have went viral, if I'm still going on him, and the ref didn't stop it, and it just could have been a lot worse than it needed to be. I got my job done. It saved him from any kind of damage. He's a sportsmanship. I respect him, Daniel Pilo. He stepped up. in a not a favorable matchup for him. That's not a lot of fight. Like not a lot of guys would want to take that fight. And I respect him for that, and especially with no trash talk. There's no ill will, nothing. We were kosher the whole time. Every time I saw him, so I was glad that it ended that way in a sense of there was no extra damage or anything like that, because that could have been a lot worse. And I'm
Yeah.
still waiting for the ref's paycheck as well.
Get you're doing both jobs, man. Might as well get two paychecks. And
Exactly.
man, you mentioned a lot of great stuff. The promotion that Brave's doing, they did that Road to Brave, which is kind of like their primetime video. I really
Yeah.
dug that. And you made a great point on there where you said, this is his first real big step up in competition. His first fight on a big international card on the international stage. And you said you questioned whether he was ready or not. And I think you gave him the answer there in the beginning of the post.
Yeah, that was my biggest thing coming into it and that's only known through experience. Other people who don't understand the aspect of traveling and fighting at a high level and competing against, high level guys and being in front of the big lights and stuff like that, they don't know the difference between doing it and not, I guess. So for me doing it, I just knew him being his first time, I was going to have an advantage. All those lights, the cameras, following us both around for that Road to Brave, even that would have been a first for him. So that's added pressure, that's nerves, and I was kind of used to it. I'm used to being behind the camera. Traveling outside of Italy, I noticed all his fights were regional. Where I've been, we were talking before we got on the air. I've been all over the world fighting, so that was also a big key to me. And then just being a co-main event, on at the time it was main event, of a big promotion like this that had been promoting us, posters everywhere, stuff like that. I just knew that it had to have been adding up to him, and I just took that with I took that and rode with it. I felt good the whole time. I felt like everything was coming together perfectly too.
And I was watching in previous interviews, you talked about your travel to Australia, where you kind of took that as a fight and a vacation in one. And when you got there, you maybe weren't as focused as you needed to be. So did you take that as a big learning lesson coming over to Morocco? That way that you stayed focused this time?
Exactly, man. That's what I mean by just trial and error through all these fights. Brazil was a good trip. It was hard cutting weight in Brazil just because there's a lot of different complications. But I was down there with just my team. It was just fight mode. My mentality was ready to go, And then Australia came around, and I was just completely on the opposite end of it. I was way too relaxed. I was more excited of going to Australia than to fight.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't have that mentality. I switched everything up, went to hold a big gym, Extreme Couture, and it was just, and my family and everything understood after Australia, like we all had to learn the lesson the hard way. Once we got to Morocco, like we didn't talk about anything after about being in Morocco or talk about staying in Morocco afterwards. It was just 100% focusing on the fight, and I didn't stay with my girlfriend. She stayed in a separate room. I was just with me and my coach, just focusing on the fight the whole time. And that was the best mentality I've ever had going into a fight, was this last one, and I think it showed. I came out of the gate, I was angry, man. I was pissed off. I had to show exactly what I'm about. A lot of people were writing me off after that Australia fight, and that just woke me up. It was the last piece of the puzzle I needed. I've always been really good in the gym, but just performing with good mentality is
Mm-hmm.
the puzzle. In Australia kind of taught me the lesson, and now it's just I was ready to go in there, and oh man, I was speaking some foul shit in the back. When we were warming up, I was amped.
Nice, nice. And you've said it. I've heard everyone really say it out there. And you're only as good as your last fight. And so, man, way to step up and get the nice victory out there and Brave, and kind of put the naysayers to bed with finally getting the finish out there.
Yeah, man, that's what I mean. You're only as good as your last fight. That was my last fight. Now I'm ready to rock. I'm on a win streak again. I've got the finish, which a lot of doubters were, giving me grief for. And now I'm just ready to build off this momentum, man. Especially being with Brave, they're going to keep me busy. I'm already expected to be fighting, November 17th or 18th. So that's I get a little bit of time at home in Canada here. and then I'm back out to Vegas for my training camp, and then perfect, and then I come back home for Christmas, and I'm back out there again. It's just a nice little schedule that I'm already on, and I think it's the place. This is the perfect place for me right now as I'm building with a new team and everything.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And post fight, I believe you said, "I want that title. I want to stay active," which it sounds like they're doing for you, and you want to put these guys away. And so, do you know what card that one's going to be on in November and who your next opponent might be?
Well, so I'll be fighting in Bahrain in November, yeah,
Mm,
mid-November, and that's like November 17th or 18th, I believe.
mm-hmm.
Um, and then they have the featherweight title fight is actually September 21st in Abu Dhabi. So I don't know if that's a quick turnaround for those guys if they want to jump right into camp again to get ready for November or not. But like I also said in the post fight, I'm the featherweight, I'm the guy to beat. The title's there, but it's I'm the guy. I'm the featherweight king right now in Brave, and these guys got to want to fight me. I'm not bidding to get the title; they got to bid to fight me. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm fighting in November, whether it's for the belt or whether it's not. I'll be fighting the number one contender, and we'll be looked at as the title fight. That's the way I'm looking at it, and that's the way I'm to ride with it. If these guys after their fight they want to take a little vacation or they want to it's too soon for them, we could square that up in the new year. But I'm definitely fighting in November.
Fantastic. Well, we'll have to tune in to the Abu Dhabi card and the one coming up in Bahrain. Just a couple more questions for you now.
Sure.
As far as Brave goes, man, it really seems like they put the athletes first in this promotion. And not only that, they're really focusing on growing the sport and just getting MMA more well known worldwide.
Yeah, that's why I love Brave. It's fighters are first, 100%. It's from the moment I got to Morocco to the moment I left. It was just they were like beck and call. Whatever you needed, they were handling for you. They make sure the experience was perfect, and which is hard to do in these countries that they're going to. Like Morocco has never seen an MMA event like that, and
Mm.
for them to be able to, you know, have host all these fighters from all across the world and keep them all happy was pretty crazy to me, and that's just they deserve a lot of credit for that. And I was happy with everything. They supplied everything we needed, and they went above and beyond my expectations for sure.
Nice, nice. And then one last thing. I believe the man behind the whole promotion and everything, one of his big goals is one of the loftiest I have ever heard of any promotion out there. He wants to get MMA in the Olympics. He wants to get pancration into the Olympics. I think when it comes to all the legit sports out there, that's the top of the line. That's reaching the mountain and the mountaintop. I've heard things about 2024, 2028. Do you Would you like to see MMA in the Olympics, and do you ever believe it would actually happen?
I would love to see it, man. That's just the next step. We have boxing in there, judo's in there, wrestling and all that. Like it just needs to happen. It's a matter of time. MMA is a short, it's a young sport, but
Mm-hmm.
we got the right people behind it, and with that International MMA Federation, the IMMAF, I think that's a step in the right direction, and that's been hosted in Bahrain last year, and it's going to be hosted again this year, and it's just the right people behind it, and I think the more smoothly that runs, and that's got people from all over the country, like that's what you can pretty much consider the Olympics right now, you know, um, as that runs smoothly, I can see that happening for sure. And it's going to be fun because I was there last year in Bahrain for the tournament, and then this Bahrain card for Brave will be the end of the week after this international fight week kind of thing out in Bahrain. So I should be there again, and I'm excited to watch it. It's cool to see all these different countries and all the jerseys and everything like that. And it's pretty cool.
Heck yeah, heck yeah. And then one more question before you get out of here. I noticed, I believe on your rib cage, you are tallying up all your victories. You got 11 right now. Have you already gone and got the 12th one added?
I get that today, actually. I'm gonna get it. I just had my Canadian Tim Hortons,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm about to hit the gym here, train with my team back home at Revolution, and then I head out and get my tattoo done. So I'm excited for that.
Fantastic. Well, everyone, be sure to give Jeremy Kidney a follow Jeremy Kennedy WC on Twitter and Jeremy Kennedy 145 on Instagram. And we would definitely love to see that tattoo once you get it done. Be sure to post it on Instagram and I'll retweet it for you. Anyone that you want to give a shout out before you get out of here, Jeremy?
Yeah, absolutely. Just make sure you follow me on Instagram, man. That's where most of my content goes. Follows me through, training in here in Canada, training out in Extreme Couture, traveling, fighting for these fights and everything like that. So definitely be sure to follow me there. And yeah, thanks a lot for having me, man.
No problem. We would definitely love to have you back, Jeremy, anytime.
All right, man. Sounds good.
All right. Have a good one.
You too.
What an excellent interview there by Jeremy. What if his victory over there at Brave, if you guys missed it, was freaking fantastic. The man went out there, dropped him with a right hand from there, gets on top, and just doesn't let him go. And the guy was fishing for a single leg or something like that. Jeremy posts down and just wham, 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 beats him to the ground. And like I said, he had to stop the fight, not the referee. So an excellent victory over there. And let's get excited for the next Brave event, Brave 15, live from Colombia. How about that? Thanks for joining us, Drake.
Oh yeah. Yeah, thanks for having me back, man. Sorry about that.
No worries. Man, so holy smokes. UFC Lincoln. I loved this card, man. Obviously, I'm tuning in from the Fight Pass prelims all the way to the main, but this here was I don't know, man. This is the last FS1 card that I can remember where I wasn't thinking about the crappy pacing at all one time during this whole thing. For some reason, I had a great time watching this whole card all the way up to Gaethje and the KO, the quick KO that we got there at the end.
Yeah, I mean, there was just nonstop excitement really from the get-go. Yeah, you didn't really notice. I mean, maybe there were a couple times because of how many finishes we were getting, but nah, it was just there was nothing boring about the whole night. It was great. Very good card for the UFC to come back on after being off for so many weeks. It was a good one to say the
Heck
least.
yeah. Oh, I 100% agree there. And the powerful DC Howard over on MMA Today did a fantastic article just kind of ranking all of these finishes. Yeah. And man, I hope he doesn't feel disrespected that I didn't have him on to do this recap. But what great work here. And number one, let's just jump right into it, man. Eric Anders KOs Tim Williams, the Boston Strangler, I believe. And Tim Williams, the highest underdog on this card. I believe Eric Anders was like minus 1050 when I was looking at it or so. And Tim was giving him a hell of a fight there for a few rounds. And out of nowhere, deep into the third round, Tim Williams gets I think he's got his leg caught or something. Eric dumps him to the ground, and as you see a lot of people do on the ground, they're very hesitant to get up. They like to wait for the referee to come step in between, and then other guys, they want to try and karate flip back up, like they're freaking in the gym or something. And as he attempts to get up, he's got as soon as he gets his second foot planted onto the ground, which as I know it, it's anything but the two soles of the feet, he gets soccer kicked right in the face, man. Oh my God, I didn't think I would ever see a soccer kick in the UFC.
Yeah, that was about as close as we're gonna get to it. Yeah, that was just out of nowhere nastiness. The timing of that was just about as good as it could get, Yeah, that was just sensational work by Anders. And yeah, I was very surprised how much of a fight Tim Williams gave him because, like you said, monstrous underdog going into that one. I don't think anybody really thought Tim Williams would do that good, but he impressed me until he got completely knocked out. And I mean, I think it would have been a close decision too, but obviously that doesn't matter because you got punted, as people were saying. Like, was Anders a kicker in football? What's going on? So, yeah,
All of
crazy stuff.
the puns were coming out, left and right, whatever they could find. I believe he was like
Yeah,
freaking defense or something like that, linebacker. I don't know.
yeah, he was.
Okay, yeah, and your boy shows up big, man. UFC was big on him. They tried to give him the great matchup. They're rolling the Alabama football promo package and everything. And your boy showed up big time here, man. And Drunk Savage in the chat is saying that he's having pride flashbacks.
Pretty much. That nickname too. I love that nickname. It's so silly. Your boy.
Oh yeah, and
Good stuff.
BOI for all of you old people out there, just so you know. And then, man, just from one right down to the other, Justin Gaethje KOs James Vick, and holy shit, he even writes in here timber. Nicely done, DC. And Jesus, man, this is a Gaethje fight, bro. You come out and honestly, God forbid you hurt the guy. God forbid you hurt him because it's not going to be good for you after that. And James Vick, man, landed some nasty body kicks. It was kind of reminiscent of Pettis versus Benson Henderson. Just
Mhm.
wha bam, and then you could see that Gaethje felt him. I don't think he was staggered or rocked, as John
Yeah.
Morgan wanted to put it. And but then he comes back, man, gets James Vick's heels against that cage, backed him up, and then just came in with a huge right and took him out, man.
Yeah, just completely floored him. It was crazy. I mean, the craziest part for me, I think, was just the reaction from the everybody. The place exploded. It was like because we're not. I mean, we know that Gaethje can knock you out like that, but we're just so used to seeing his wars. So I think it was more surprising that he just put him away so fast. After especially like you said, Vic was keeping the distance very well, which he needed to do, but couldn't keep it up for very long. And yeah, once he got backed up, it was over. I mean, geez, just a right from hell, pretty much. It was a one hitter quitter, like definition of it.
Man, I guess you know what this actually reminds me of as I'm thinking of it right now. Uh, Anthony Rumble Johnson versus Gus. Because you're thinking, okay, Gus can outpoint him. He could take him 5 rounds. But the other guy's got that. I don't know. He just wants to go out there and brawl with him. And holy smokes. Dude, and he
Yeah.
goes over. Love you, James Vick. You look like an inflatable arm tube man or something.
I mean, he's huge lightweight. It's very, very good comparison.
He's out
No
there at
offense,
the
James.
at the tax store or at the U sale cars lot, man. Trying to freaking sell some stuff. Jesus. And man, okay, and some things that I took away from this, I remember Gaethje. I saw him live, best card I've ever seen in my life down Glendale. So when he
Mhm.
tells you, come and see me, I've only got 5 left. Apparently, what he meant was I've only got 5 wars left. And he counts
Yeah.
that just as a quick victory. Boom. So when I was counting down, I was like, all right, we got 4 left. What's it going to be? Now I can rest easy a little bit. All right, we're going to get some more Justin Gaethje in our lives. And that I'm definitely happy about.
Well, yeah, I mean, geez, for my money, I've been saying it since before you got to the UFC, man. He's probably the most exciting fighter of all time in my books, just because he never he delivers every single time. Whether it be this quick knockout or the wars, which we're used to seeing. Um, and this was best case scenario for him because yeah, he took no damage and got a fucking sweet knockout. I mean, that's exactly what he needed, especially after 2 losses. And then
Mm.
everyone's like, he's got to fucking finally start using his wrestling. Well, not if he's gonna put you out on the feet like that. So yeah, that was best case scenario for Gaethje, and it's awesome to see for him. Vic will be back, so it all works out, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And we've seen Vic come back from a loss, so you can
Mhm.
definitely recover from this. Although Yeah, I'm a champion for 165s. Whatever. It's not gonna happen until it happens. I would love to see you jump up a weight class, Vic. Man, you look terrible come freaking the week of. I don't know if we're just getting more behind the scenes because you were actually in the main event, and so we actually cared this time, and that's why we're all talking about it. But dude, having to literally sit down so you don't pass out during a media scrum, that might be a little bit of a sign that maybe we're cutting a little too
Yeah,
much.
maybe. Well, I mean, geez, he's 6'3" for a lightweight. It's like, okay, hold on. Something's a little off here.
Yeah,
Not an
yeah.
easy cut.
I would love more weight classes though, so these guys can bulk up more naturally and do it in a safer manner. But with that all being said, I hate extreme weight cuts. And James, it looks like you're doing a crazy extreme weight cut, brother.
Yeah.
And man, all the science is out there. More hydration, more hydration for the fluid around your brain is only better and would only decrease the chance of TBI or whatever traumatic brain injury.
Mhm.
But number 3 on DC's list, Joanne Calderwood subs Kalinja Ferreira in one round, right at the end of it, man. And holy smokes, JoJo coming out here. I don't know if I'd say she's in a must-win scenario, but she was walking in here definitely kind of feeling that way, and that helped her
Mhm.
get the victory.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, she felt like her back was against the wall, which I don't think it was as much as it was for Faria, but that's okay. That's extra motivation, like she said, and it worked out pretty well. Got taken down within like 20 seconds and was just held there. And like, oh, looks like this might be how the fight's gonna go. At least, obviously, this round. But then she just slowly works into this triangle, which she gets the triangle first at about a minute left or so, maybe a little bit less than that even. And that was super deep. I was like, how is Faria hanging in this for as long as she did? And then JoJo switched to the armbar. Like, okay, whoa, look at this. And she ended up tapping when she rolled over. It was like, wow, look at that. She's learning some submissions now. She's got some BJJ because we're so used to seeing her do her striking and styling on people, but styling in a new way now. JoJo 2.0, as she's saying. So very impressive. And I mean, if even if it was must win or not, this is good to get that win. It's good to get the win.
Definitely. And man, maybe I just got Pettis on my mind, but JoJo looking kind of look like Pettis, man. The striker out there. You're gonna have some nice jujitsu, some sneaky good jujitsu that might really help you out. And holy smokes, dude, she tucked that arm like way deep and it starts reefing over, and that girl had to tumble and roll with her. Like she's
Mhm.
tapping in serious pain there, man. And wow, what a finish there by her. I would show the clip, but it's a UFC clip, and that will definitely get me pulled. Don't do that. Words to the wise. You can play GIFs. You can't play videos as far
Mm,
as UFC goes.
loophole.
Yeah, exactly. And jumping down, excellent victory though by JoJo. I believe I marked her as one of the first women that I can remember talking about bringing in the flyweight division way back in the day. She was a girl who was like, I'm freaking too big for this, dropping down to straw weight and shit. So I'm glad she's finally in her weight class. Maybe she could really find her groove. JoJo 2.0.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we saw her before this fight. Her best performance. I mean, I guess you could still argue it is her best performance against Latorno, which was the official first flyweight fight in the UFC. They just kind of did that before the division, just so that each fighters were comfortable. Which I'm sure, okay, that works. And yeah, we saw how good JoJo was there, and then she gets this crazy submission now, and she remains undefeated at flyweight. I mean, it's only 3-0, 4-0 above 120 pounds, but yeah, it's working so far, obviously.
Mm. Heck yeah. And who else is Jessica I? Go look at her record. You look at anything below 135 pounds, and I think she's like 11-1 or something like that. A
Yeah,
really
yeah.
sneaky, crazy good record. I would love to see another like 4-woman tournament or something down there, but who cares? Let's just really get a champion, and we'll have some contenders soon enough. I like that they're building that division, though. Definitely a fan. And let's go to another great underdog victory. of the card. Number 4, James Krause, TKOs, Warley Alves. I don't know why, dude. I've always been real high on James Krause. I think I had heard of him just through some interview when he was still fighting for RFA, I believe is where he
Mhm.
came from. And so when you hear about a guy or you know about him before you get into UFC, you kind of just feel like you're part of that team or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
had
definitely.
mixed results in UFC, an excellent coach. It seems to show his fighting though, even improving. Never really found his ground at 155 or 170, but this might have been the victory to really solidify him at 170s. He takes out Worthy Alves, who, if you guys don't know, holds a quick submission victory over the interim welterweight champ Colby Covington.
Yeah, he's the only guy to beat Colby, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's that. Yeah, I love James. Just to be honest, and he continues to prove that he's just underrated overall in MMA with being a coach and a fighter at the same time. Head coach at Glory, his gym in Kansas City. But yeah, this as much as I do like James and everything, I was just like, oh, I think Warley's gonna be a bit much, like sadly. So I didn't think James was gonna pull it off, but man, he went out there and put on probably the best overall performance of the night, in my opinion, because Worley really had zero moments in that fight. Just right away, James was putting it on him with his game plan, sticking him with the jab, and just really tiring him out with everything. And then eventually landed that knee that he's been working on, actually, and then got the crazy finish there. I mean, it was pretty much flawless from him. I mean, minus a little, maybe some slip ups in the first round, which really weren't anything. But yeah, that was a big surprise, and he was also a pretty sizable underdog. Nothing crazy like the Williams fight, but that was it was a very big win for James, and now five in a row. If you don't count Ultimate Fighter 25, so going places. It looks like if he keeps looking like that for sure.
Well, and Ultimate Fighter 25. Let's just talk about that, man. He got notoriety on that for being the first guy in the UFC to go back to the Ultimate Fighter just to try and get the fucking championship. Add
Yeah.
that to his resume. I love that. And he's like, yo, TV time? Let's do this. And then, what else? The guy that he loses to, though, ends up popping for pets right after that.
Hmm.
And was he tested on the Ultimate Fighter like he was in his first bout in the
Good
UFC? I
point.
don't exactly know there. So, boom, I take that into account. And maybe I'm crazy here. Did he fight Bobby Green way back in the day?
James, he fought Bobby
And
Green.
it
Yeah,
ended because of dick kicks, and
yeah,
then
yeah,
he got kicked in like the stomach, and Big John tried saying that no, 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 that wasn't a dick kick, that was a stomach kick, you're out on like the third
yeah,
kick or
yeah.
something
It,
like that.
it was actually a shot to the cup, but Big John, I think it was Big John, whoever the ref was, they thought that it was just a body kick and he was done from it. And then there was that controversy. So that's one of his like last two losses in like 10 or fights or however many, and then the other one
Mm-hmm.
is a close split decision. So yeah, James really has been putting together just like a really quietly good resume when you really break it down. Because yeah, that Bobby Green loss doesn't really count. He'd probably whoop Bobby nowadays. No offense to Bobby, he doesn't even fight that much either. But so yeah, I mean, people need to keep their eyes on James Krause, the James Krause.
The James Krause fighting out of his gym down there in freaking Missouri. Lee Summit, Missouri, I believe is where he's out of.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And oh, I don't know if we played the clip already. Let's get that played through here. Um, this knee, dude, I don't know how, but I missed it. I had to see the knee on the replay because after that, Warley was just backing up, like he wasn't even all there, and I was like,
Hmm.
"What's going on here?" And then they go back and show the knee of that crazy step in knee, and I was like, "Wow!" And it was like an uppercut of a knee, dude. It was incredible.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah, he really got it. It was a step. It was pretty much a step knee, and it just went straight to the face. Usually people step in and go to the body, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, straight for the jaw, and it couldn't have landed any better. When you watch it in slow motion, like super slow mo, you're like, wow, just like shakes his whole face off.
Wow. And so,
It's nasty.
someone asked on Twitter, what was the best and the worst of the weekend, and I put James Krause being a previous 155er at 170, and James Vick being at 155. That was kind of the best and the worst. That just shows show
Mm,
you if you could
yeah,
choose the right weight class, man. Maybe I don't know. Uh,
that's a
I'm
good point.
clamoring like crazy for this.
Yeah. Well, also another thing, Warley, he won Ultimate Fighter Brazil, I think season 3 at middleweight. So it was kind of just like he makes it more impressive when you think about James being at 155 for I think most of his career, and then he comes up and beats a bigger guy. I mean, they looked pretty similar in the cage, to be honest, but yeah, when Warley was able to have success at middleweight too, it kind of puts it into a different perspective uh, to make that performance look even better. At least I'd say so.
Mm-hmm. Wouldn't it be nice if everyone was in their correct weight class? So like
Yes.
a regional promotion guy comes over and it's like, oh shit, I gotta drop a weight class, and then a tough winner comes into their division and it's like, oh, I gotta drop a weight class, man. What the hell?
Yeah, it's weird that weight stuff.
Anyways, man, Andy Foster, I love your 10-point plan. I'm champion for it as much as I can. We'll see what happens though. Hani Yaya subs Luke Saunders. Another man coming from RFA in Luke Sanders, but Hani Yaya showing his jiu-jitsu game is still alive. He's still a threat. And holy smokes, man. Dude, okay, I was just doing a deep dive into um who was it? Kid Yamamoto. And he fought Hani Yaya before Hani Yaya was in the UFC.
Oh,
Way back
really?
in the day. Way back in the day.
Wow, I was just looking at Yamamoto's record like last night. I don't remember even seeing that or remembering about the fight. That's crazy.
I
Yeah,
believe it
veteran.
was his streak. He just came back from trying to get into the Olympics in 2007 and then went back to K1 Heroes and beat up, who was it? Bibiano Fernandez,
Oh,
who was
crazy.
a champion, but that was the very beginning of his fighting career. I
Hmm.
think his first fight he fought Uriah Faber, so I don't know. Next one, and then he fought Hani Yaya right after that, and then
Wow.
finally transitioned into what Dream was next. But yeah, that
Hmm.
was the peak of his heyday, man. Kid Yamamoto, kid,
Yeah.
we're praying for you, brother.
Hmm.
And oh, let's play the clip here. Hani Yaya, just nope, that's the UFC clip. Can't do that one. He wraps up his leg though, dude. They he
Like a
he was just
snake.
yeah. Like a snake.
Oh
What did you
my
think of
God.
Hani's performance, man?
I mean, he did what he does. I don't know if I really felt like he'd get a submission in this one. I mean, it's if I did a little bit, but it was like I wasn't super confident in it. But if it was gonna happen, I thought it'd be later. But yeah, he wasted no time. I think he's on a lofty win streak now too. Just keeps on doing his thing. But yeah, he was not gonna. He got a first attempt like before that, and then just wasn't giving it up. And wise choice because he got it soon after, and you could tell Sanders was like, "Oh no, I really need to get out of here," but he just couldn't do anything. That's how high level Yaya is with his BJJ, and just keeps on cruising. And he called out Dillashaw afterwards, so he's confident, taking
Where's the
things off of
button?
the
Where's the drop, man? Epic fail. You
I
could
mean,
be.
hey, obviously it wasn't going to happen, but good on him, for putting it out there. He's like, "Hey man, give me my fucking top contender or the title shot. I'm ready for this." It's not going to happen, but respect, for wanting it.
I
So
just. It's a waste of all that mic time that you had,
that is
in my
true.
opinion. You could have made an actual great call out, but whatever.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
good point.
yeah. Be more realistic, man. So when Justin Gaethje accidentally calls out Ferguson because he doesn't know that he's already matched with Pettis, that's
Hmm.
more of a backroom issue and a knowledge issue, not a lofty shooting over the moon issue. Because
Yeah.
he could have said, give me the winner of Conor Khabib, but no, but he says, give me the real champ, the quote unquote
Hmm.
maybe real champ. A lot of people, hardcores would be like, yo, dude, he's trying to take on the guy with 10 victories in a row. You got to respect that, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean the Pettis fight too was made like the day before. He was all busy with his stuff, so yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a fight that could possibly happen too. It's like because Yaya's not going to get what he was asking for whatsoever next, but yeah, I mean, Gaethje could get Pettis or Ferguson, anybody above him, so like
Mm-hmm.
immediately above him. which
Yeah.
I'm hoping for Kevin Lee, but we'll see what happens.
Kevin Lee, Edson Barbosa, any of the guys that maybe have a potential pullout in their opponent. And you got to add in there Ally Kenta.
Mhm.
Ally Kenta gets no love in the rankings. I hear this fucking thing people are saying like, oh, Habib beat a number 10 guy. It's like, yo, go look at Al's record and tell me if he really should have been ranked number 10 at that point in time, because there's some definite Nate Diaz situation shit going on there where the guy's not ranked low because he's not good. It's he's ranked low because he's not fighting. He's choosing to not fight because they're not paying
Mhm.
him enough money. And I could go on and on about that, but
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
let's go to number 6, which was Davison Figueiredo, TKO's John Moraga. And wow, dude, this prospect out here from Brazil, 15-0 now, takes on John Moraga, who potentially, he got the shot. Maybe it was too early when he got it. People thought he was
Mhm.
overrated. As of late, though, showing up real nice, getting some great victories out there. And Figueredo was able to KO him. And he has finished 13 of his 15 victories.
Yeah, I mean, this guy for me is, I mean, the dark horse of the flyweight division. It is one of the best dark horses out there. Just sneaking up on people, really. This fight, we knew. I think that the educated people knew that this probably wasn't going to go the distance. They're both finishers at 125. Um, but man, Figueredo though, he just continues to show oh, you need to make sure you know who I am because I'm sneaking up on people, undefeated, getting all these finishes at flyweight, which it's a big critique that they get for not
Mm-hmm.
finishing much, but they do obviously.
Mm-hmm.
He's a prime example of that. But yeah, the ceiling I think is very high for him, and it'll be fun to see where he continues to go, which is just up really. I mean, he's killing it right now. That was very impressive. To put Moraga out that way too. Um, don't really see that. Don't really especially by strikes. He hasn't. I mean, he got kicked in the face by Dodson, I think it was, but that was a broken nose. So other than that, he hasn't really been finished by legit strikes the way Figueiredo put it on him. Unless I'm forgetting something.
No, no. And look at Moraga, man. He's got that excellent back tattoo. It's like the Phoenix Rising. I think he's fighting out of Arizona, I believe. So it totally
Yeah.
makes sense for have that Phoenix. And I'm a fan of Tech Nine, and that's kind of his symbol for his whole fans. But
Oh yeah,
anyways,
yeah.
man, moving on with the finishes. I can't believe this is ranked number 7. This, all right, maybe it's not the greatest finish, but crazy freaking fight. What the hell? Corey Sandhagen TKO's Alir Alcantara. Okay, so going into this card, I had 2 guys that I was really, really high on. And it was James Krause. I picked him. I'm
Mhm.
probably one of the few. And Corey Sandhagen. Corey Sandhagen, I watched his debut. This guy moves like some of the new generation is going to move, man. I don't know if you got to train with TJ Dillashaw to get footwork like that, or if it's just the newer, faster guys that are that good. But, dude, he could switch stances. His footwork's unbelievable. But holy smokes, he's not exactly Gumby, but he's got the heart to take I guess dislocated elbow or something like that and keep coming. And oh my gosh, it was cringeworthy. At least the
Oh
people
yeah,
that
that
I knew
was
that were watching it, and he
no,
fought
that
through
was
that.
oh my god. Yeah, that's got to be one of the craziest escapes of all time, right? Like holy shit, dude. Like, how do you how does he survive that? And he was getting hammer fisted at the same time and his face just kept getting bloodier and bloodier with each punch. Like, dude, how is he not tapping or anything right now? This is ridiculous. And then
Hmm.
he gets out of it and pretty much rallies for a 10-8 the opposite way when he was getting 10-8 on, It's like, what is going on with this round right now? It's just fucking. I bet Alcantara was just so deflated by like, do I have to literally kill this guy to get rid of him? I just broke his arm in half and punched him in the face without any defense whatsoever. But he's kicking my ass. What is going on? Um,
Right.
it was
Yeah.
insane. I mean, that's the only way you could put that fight. It was absolutely insane. And terrible refing, by the way. That was a big deal because that ref got pulled after that fight because of how shitty his stoppage was. I mean, he's like, I mean, these guys obviously they just want to fight. We'll let them do their thing. But Alcantara was done like at the end of the first round. I'd say they could have called it between rounds because he got really beat up after he was beating up Sandhagen. It was wild. I mean, just no other way to put that.
Okay, so this was actually during the FS2, and I don't have FS2, so I found myself some sort of other means of watching it. And there was a little chat on the side, and I swear people were counting the strikes. There was an 80 went by in the chat, and then a 90, and then 100 strikes without him answering with anything back. And yeah, all the praise in the world to Nebraska. You guys think, all these commissions, you think, oh, you go there, it's just some podunk commission. Well, Nebraska's the only one with the balls to actually pull the referee after he does a terrible call out there. So all the props to that commission, man. They made the correct call. I loved it.
Yeah, that was very surprising, but very happy that they did it. You never see that kind of shit, owning up to their mistakes pretty much. So very good to see. And hopefully more commissions will do that because if it shows that they recognize the problem. So hopefully if more people get on board and notice that it's okay to do that, maybe we'll finally get some movement with officiating and all that nonsense getting better. So not
Only
mad at that decision.
no one can hope. That is definitely for sure. And number 8, Mickey Gall subs George Sullivan. And I'll tell you guys like it is, man, because that's what I always do. You look at Sage Northcutt, you look at Mickey Gall, and look at their opponents. They basically look at their roster, take the very, very bottom guy and slot him in there, someone that's potentially going to get cut right after they lose. And that's what they did here with George Sullivan. I think, Mickey Gall's like 12 years younger than this guy?
Something like that.
It was like the 25-year-old versus the 37-year-old. And I don't know. You never know what's going to happen in a fight, right? You never know, but they're getting kind of some very good matchups going their way. And what do we get? You get Mickey Gall not taking one strike. He came out and just take down straight to the back and switch as soon as he possibly could and ends up getting the choke. What did you think of Mickey Gall's performance? What is he 4-0 or 5-0 now?
Well, he lost his last fight to Randy Brown.
Oh yeah, so 4-1, I think is what he is now.
Something like that. But yeah, all of his wins are by rear naked choke now, or one, yeah, something like that. But no, my biggest takeaway from this fight was that he beat George Sullivan faster than CM Punk. So Sullivan lasted less time than CM Punk did, which speaks for itself. So, but yeah, that was exactly what you want to do in a fight. No damage, choke the guy out real fast. But yeah, it's probably the end of George Sullivan in the UFC.
Yeah, being 37, who knows what's next for him. Some guys, at least back in the day, as they would exit the UFC, they would just call it a day. But there's a lot of options out there now that might give you some pretty good money just because you got a name that they could throw on there. So we will see what happens. Mickey Gall, I guess, you say he's winning all these fights by rear naked choke. Is he slowly becoming like the next Demian Maia of 170?
I don't know about that. Obviously, he's got something going for him, but that's a bold statement.
I mean, he didn't want to take one strike, and Demian in his heyday is when he abandoned striking whatsoever and just went straight to back control. He's like, I will become a backpack.
Yeah, I will transform myself. But yeah, also though, I want to know what you think about Mickey Gall's callouts too, because he's kind of making himself known for these wacky callouts he's doing after his fights. He wants to fight Sage again, who he already beat, and then he called out I forget who the other person was, Diego Sanchez. So it's like kind of just weird moves by him. I don't know. What do
Didn't he
you
have?
think about that,
He had
man?
three names: Diego, which in my opinion, you just called out BJ Penn or Randy Couture, or like that's calling out Bigfoot Silva. That's getting a victory over in some regional promotion. I want Bigfoot Silva next. Oh, what the hell's the matter with you? I kind of hate you a little bit inside. Number two, Sage Northcutt. Why not? Is the pretty blonde guy. And who gives Sage? I don't know anyone who's ever called out a guy who they'd already beat. So that's
Yeah.
weird. I think he just should have done that. That was the only one he should have done. And then whoever the third one was, I can't remember. But you done fucked up, man. You can't call out three people. You lost me at Diego number one, and you need to stick with one goddamn person.
Yeah, Diego, he's fighting in 2 weeks or at 228 anyways. So it's
Mm,
like, I mean, which it's not going to be easy for him to win that fight either. But yeah, I think the other person was Randy Brown, so he wants to avenge his loss, which
yeah,
I mean,
that's right.
I get it, but yeah, just odd moves. He called out Dan Hardy last time he won, so you're like, I don't get it with him, but he's got something in his head
No,
that he's
he's
trying.
thinking who are in his all right, this is completely painted picture that we know 100% now. In his mind, who are legends that are completely done? Dan Hardy, Diego Sanchez. The next person he calls out, you can add them to the list. Legends that he thinks are done that he can beat. That's the people that are on his list. Apparently, he wants to give the guy. You know what he should have done? He should have just done Sage and Randy Brown. Those two names.
Yeah,
It's like,
that would have
I
been his
want a
bad.
freaking rematch. You guys pick Sage Northcutt or Randy Brown, and then
Yeah,
boom, walk away, drop the mic, done. And then you're like, holy shit, that was weird. He just called out a guy that he beat and the guy that beat him. I love
yeah,
it, yeah. And then that would have been our reaction.
yeah. Diego just throws it all off though. Just like whoa, whoa, whoa.
Oh, Drunk Savage though, at least he didn't call out a retired fighter this time, so he is trending in the right direction.
Yeah, good point.
It's
Hell
like,
to a loser.
man, what? Okay, imagine I forget. I'm thinking in my mind that old porridge fairy tale that we had, but backwards. His very first call out is Sage Northcutt. It's perfect. His next one, Dan Hardy. It's terrible. His next one, three guys. That's terrible. It's like, dude, what are you doing here? You're freaking. You're not trending in the right direction. Jesus.
Amazing.
All right, and then lastly, Brian Barberina. B squared, I guess is what people are calling him. TKO's Jake Ellenberger.
Bam, bam. I get it. I didn't know
Bam,
that.
Bam
B
Bam
squared.
Barberina obliterated Jake Ellenberger, and I think we no, I know we just saw the end of Ellenberger, but that was kind of sad, man. They had to do it. Once you could bring a guy to his hometown for his retirement fight, he's the one who should have had George Sullivan or something, man. What's the hell's going
Yeah,
on here?
exactly. Sorry, George, if it's true. Because yeah, this was the most obvious outcome of the night for me and the
Mhm.
most forgettable fight since it's happened just because it was so expected. I mean, anybody who knows Barberina, he's got a fucking iron chin. He's just tough as nails. He wasn't. He. This is exactly what was going to happen, which sucks for Jake. You know, we all know. We all watched him grow up in the UFC pretty much, and then now he's here, and they bring him to his hometown to get slaughtered. um, should have given him an easier opponent, but also, you know him. He doesn't want it that way either. So I
Mm-hmm.
get it, but it happens to the best of them. So man,
Man, yeah, it sure does. And Barberina, an excellent victory right here over a big name, man. You can't doubt it. Jake Ellenberger was a big name in the welterweight division. And correct me if I'm wrong, but Barberina holds a victory over one. Was it Sage Northcutt he beat?
yeah, he beats Sage. I thought you were going to say though he's got wins now over both of the Ellenberger brothers.
Oh yeah,
He beat his twin brother Joe as well. So nightmare for the Ellenberger family.
man. They've
Yeah,
got they've got
I think he was the
a dartboard at
first
home
guy
with
to.
with freaking Brian Barberina's face on it.
Yeah, exactly.
And holy smokes, but that was your 9 finishes, all ranked by our man DC Howard over with MMA Today. And man, is there anything else you want to highlight before? I guess let's talk about the decision that some people
That
maybe,
yep.
yeah, had. They were swinging one way or the other. It was Angela Hill faced Courtney Cast Iron Casey. Cast Iron cooked this fight on short notice. I forget how long out it was, maybe like 5 weeks or so. She was supposed. Angela Hill was supposed to fight Alexa Grasso. Grasso pulled out. Courtney Iron Casey steps in, and this might have. I don't know how many fights she's got left on her contract, but if she fell to 7-6, I haven't seen her with very many walkaway KOs like Mark Hunt or anything, and so that would have been a very, very tough spot to be in. But she ultimately gets the decision victory over Overkill Angela Overkill Hill. What did you think of that?
Well, this fight was probably, well, I mean, it was one of the closest fights I've ever seen, just to be honest, that hasn't gone to a draw.
Mm.
Um, because it was really just either way. I wasn't gonna be mad at whoever like got the decision or if it was a draw or anything like that. But so it was funny to me when I saw people saying that they were all pissed and it was a robbery. Just like, did we watch the same thing? Because they were like just totally landing at the same time the whole time. They both looked great. It was just a battle nonstop. They were going at it for the full 15 minutes, doing what they wanted to each other essentially. And there should be really just no fake outrage about who deserved to win or whatnot because it was that close, at least for me. Yeah, it could have gone either way. I did score it for Hill, but I had the first round and the third round as 10-10s. I think we need more 10-10s. We need those ties up in there. Let's be more liberal with that. And then the second round I gave to Hill, but that's just how fucking close it was for me. I was having really a hard time, just like, man, who's gonna win this? I have no idea, but I'll edge it to Hill just because of that second round. But I'm not mad at either outcome. What do you think, Dan?
Man, this one, I think I'm definitely biased. I love Angela Overkill Hill on Twitter, and so just going into these fights, I'm biased, and so I slightly gave it towards to her. But Cast Iron Casey, man, I think she had a pretty damn good fight with Karate Hottie down
Hmm.
in Glendale that I watched, and Karate Hottie was just able to kind of like stick on the outside, give her some little kicks and shit like that. So I'm glad to see her still sticking around the UFC. Man, because she had a pretty big following. Maybe she was from Glendale when I went there, but she seems to be,
Yeah, she
the
trains out of the lab.
gotcha. Well, I mean, that's the type of fighter I see the UFC maybe keep it around just because their fighting style or something like that. But I can't hate on it. I don't call fights a robbery unless they definitely are. People can, they can argue. I think they should have won. I think they should have won. But robberies don't come very often in my
Yeah,
book.
it's you can't call any close fight a robbery. That's one of my big pet peeves about the MMA community. They like to freak out if even if it's not who they think won, they'll call it a robbery, even if it's close. Like, no close fights can be. You know what robbery actually means? You need a dictionary or something. So
Right, right. And man, what else do we got over here? I think that might do it for the Lincoln recap. I wonder if we should hit on everything. You know what we're gonna do?
co-main.
I'm gonna. Oh yeah, what do you want to say about Johnson and Andre Feely?
Yeah, that one I didn't. I think we're gonna call either of those two fights a robbery. I would lean towards the co-main event. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
thought Feely won that one, but those fight too. Uh, but yeah, I don't think it was as close as the Hill Casey one. Um, that was very needed for Michael Johnson. So I guess it's okay. It's okay that he got that because he needed it more, and he's always an interesting guy to watch. So I guess it's okay not to be mad at it in that way. But I don't agree with it. But it was a solid fight. So yeah, Michael Johnson finally back in the win column for the first time in I don't know how long now. He lost 3 in a row before that, all to killers though. So yeah, good for him.
Yeah, man. Holy smokes! And what a step up in competition, man. You go from Artem Lobov to freaking Michael Johnson, who, like you said, man, beat some great guys. Beat Dustin Poirier in like one round at 155. Drops down to 145, and you're taking on him. But man, I don't know. He might have been the faster guy at 145 and now, or at 155, and now he's got guys that are more his speed here. And so, but yeah, I like that fight. I definitely enjoyed it. Feely coming out there. He trains with Team Alpha Mill still, doesn't he?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, Johnson gets the victory, but Feely, you can't feel bad on that performance, man. It sucks because years later, people just look at the records and they don't really remember what happened. But
Mm-hmm.
man, definitely, I would lean with you if anyone was going to be one that should have went the other way. It was the co-main
Yeah.
event.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, dang it, I think that's about enough of this UFC Lincoln recap for us. I've got a bunch of fight announcements, but I am going to save that for tomorrow for the next show. And make sure that you guys all follow Drake and tell them where they can give you a follow at.
You can follow me at Dre_Kriggs on Twitter. That's pretty much the only social media thing I use. I mean, I have an Instagram, so you can follow me there too, but I don't use it nearly as much as Twitter. Yeah, so you can find all my stuff on bjpen.com, Fansided, MMA Today, of course. If you're interested in keeping up with all the news that I'm covering and my crazy opinions, so if you do, find me.
Nice. And then also, be sure to give a listen to the Women's MMA Today podcast on the MMA Today Podcasting Network. If you guys are not subscribed to it on your iTunes, I don't know what you're doing. You can get your PFL recaps, the Bellator ones as well, and then also all of the greatest women's topics. Definitely get hit on. You get previews for any fights coming up, recaps for everything. Definitely well done over there.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. I forgot about my own show. Thank you for that. A new episode dropping today.
New episode
Yes.
drops today, so be sure you're signed up, hit the notifications, all that good stuff. Be sure to check out all the sites. And until next time, back to all you sickos, we're out of here.